a lot of this stuff, I feel like is very. Uh, I feel like a lot of Hollywood stuff and all this changing is very Americanized. I feel like it doesn't get talked about over here. I saw recently Harry Potter, the series. They've pretty much confirmed through the producers that they're going to be, what do you call, like recasting.
Oh yeah, that's
the
happening.
main characters. I saw someone saying it's probably going to be Harry that gets race swapped. I think that's what you say.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, race
Hermione
swapped,
already
yeah.
was, which makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Harry comes from a poor.
Yeah,
essentially
where the
winds
fuck
up in
else
a
did he
poor
be?
household.
Absolutely.
yeah. So I was going to ask, what do you guys think about it? Because
Oh, dude, here's the thing. I don't give a fuck. You can take anybody, make
Here's the
them
thing.
Asian, make
Now-
them black. If they do
now
it
this
well,
is-
they do it. That's it.
This would be the one problem I have with it, because Harry's parents were extremely wealthy.
That's
The
true.
amount of money they had at Green
But
Gods
they
Bank,
left
they
him
probably
to.
owned the fucking bank.
But he was
So-
adopted by his his family. His origin,
but
yeah.
he was
I mean,
born
they
into
still-
money.
Yeah.
If they
They
take
still
that
could've
out,
been
they take out the Harry
affluent.
Potter.
Not
So they still
necessarily.
could've-
No, his wealth isn't relevant to him. The main thing is that he lived with an abusive father that he was adopted by after his main parents died when he was young. Like,
you
as long
reminded
as they
my,
do that,
you
that's
reminded
it.
me of my own uncle. Actually, he
yeah,
looked
I mean,
exactly
Dude,
like
he
him.
does. Yeah. Go ahead.
They don't have to if they switch his race, they don't have to remove like the whole plot of him. having
No,
money.
they can do the whole thing still,
Yeah,
the same
I
way.
always said even if you like the race swap with Little Mermaid, well, they're near the Dominican. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
they're near the Caribbean.
Yeah, the Caribbean.
And then,
so
dude,
that makes sense.
Here's what, and this is the last word in the chairs. The thing that radicalized me was back in the day, Hunger Games. There was a girl named Rue, I believe.
Yeah, her
Yep.
name's Ruth.
And yeah, I remember everybody when I read Hunger Games and I watched the movies, and I remember when people freaked out about that, I was like, why? This little girl is perfect. She's adorable.
She comes
She's
from the poorest
relatable.
district.
She comes from the poorest district. It makes sense. Why?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She was white in the book, and it's like a slight thing where she's like, "Oh, she has white
But
skin,
I don't
etc."
think even
And
the
people
author
freaked out.
came out and was like, "Oh,
No,
you
the
can't do
author
that.
said, "Fuck you." Who cares if she's black? And so I never understood
that
that.
moment."
And
was
that whole thing
unfathomable.
radicalized me because I loved that young girl as Rue. And on top of that, I remember people in the theater were like crying their eyes out when she like died, because that's the whole thing that radicalizes the whole 12
It
districts.
has
is
a
when Rue
lot
dies.
more of an impact when you see a young
Yeah.
black girl
Yeah.
who comes from a
Killed
impoverished
in the
society,
wrong
just
way,
like
yeah.
the real
Yeah,
world.
and their
Yeah.
entire-
And yeah,
their
Absolutely.
entire district, like this fucking farming district where they're farming corn and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like
yeah.
they're all just like African American people.
Well,
throughout
they're
the district.
slaves. They're essentially slaves.
Yeah,
they're
pretty-
forced
yeah.
to work the fields.
Yeah,
That's
it's
basically what it is.
accurate, and it works. And so ever since then, I've been like, "Fuck you! I don't care as long as they're good
Yeah.
actors."
Well, you saw they have this
Exactly.
new Hunger Games movie coming out.
Songbird, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Here's the thing: it's supposed to follow Snow when he was young, and how like the setting up of the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I haven't
kind of
had any
interesting.
issues with Suzanne Collins yet, so I'm okay for it to be. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it'll-
Yeah, I
too.
think
I'm
I have
hoping it
hope
good.
for it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's gonna be terrible, but I don't think it's gonna be amazing. But we'll find out. I've
I
always
think
wanted
people
to
are
know
gonna
more
have a
about
hard
the
time
background.
accepting it because it doesn't have Jennifer Lawrence. It doesn't have, I don't think.
Yeah, but
Elizabeth
it's like
Banks.
fucking 40
Yeah.
But
years
you-
in the
Yeah,
past.
but you know the audience.
Yeah,
they
I
have
know.
to have
Audiences are
something that's
fucking
very
stupid.
similar.
I
fucking
in order for
can't
them
stand
to
it.
change.
Yeah, that's
I think my take. I once saw like because this stuff doesn't particularly affect me being like a white Australian, but I once saw some guy have a video about how like the representation of like a single character in like I think it was Star Wars he was talking about where he's like Finn or whatever, like having X character
Yeah, Sam
actually
Jackson in
made
the
me,
original.
like be able to finally relate to this franchise that I love.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I was like that. Like, look, if someone's going to be able to like finally relate to Harry Potter because Hermione's black or whatever,
Yeah.
like I don't give a fuck if it's like not the Hermione that I remember. It's like
Yeah.
if this whole new like group of people can relate to the film and actually find more enjoyment from it, as
Yeah.
long as it's not like a shit.
Well, the only
Absolutely.
prominent
And-
minority they had in that film was Ron because he's a ginger.
Yeah, that's it, literally. Oh, and they had the Asian
well, they
girl.
had-
The Asian
They
girl
had
does a bit.
Cho Chang, the Asian, and they
Yeah,
had
that's it.
true.
probably Shacklebolt, the black guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's so
But
stupid.
then they made like Disney turned Finn into a snow bunny chasing simp, and that was just
Yeah, no,
depressing.
it's true. And they do, Disney, I don't know, Peter, just so you know, they do this. There's a stereotype that black men always chase white women. And I want you to, in the future, look at every black man
Yeah.
in every Disney
No,
film.
we
They
can't-
are always
across
going for white
Spider-Verse.
women. Yeah, Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse,
But
he's going for a white woman.
We don't really care, I guess. At that
No, I'm
point.
just saying it's a stereotype that
Like-
Disney plays into. Also, I will say that like with the whole
'Cause
representation
he never
thing,
simps for him. He actually cares more about his father living
yeah,
than
absolutely,
anything
he
else.
does. And then, but on oh no, was it? What was that?
But simping for snow bunnies.
No.
Finn?
Oh yeah, representation. So with the
Yeah.
whole representation thing, the kind of argument that I heard was like, oh well, if like you've gotten all of a sudden in the past like 50 years, you have like these women in like STEM fields
Yeah.
that they show other women, hey, you can
yeah.
do this, and they show them in TV shows, and all of a sudden after we get the representation up, now women are in STEM fields at a like insane rate compared to what they were.
That goes, I think, with any kid who, like, for me, right?
Yeah.
When I grew up, I sit there and had to sit there and hear like the popular groups like NSYNC and
Yeah,
Backstreet
for sure.
But for me, I didn't really relate to somebody until Eminem came around.
Yeah, of course, he's
But
from a poor
In
neighborhood.
the
et cetera.
movies,
Yeah,
it was the
makes
same
sense.
thing. Is like I related more to Spawn. I related more to Blade.
Yeah,
because
or
of their
Static Shock
backgrounds.
on the TV
Yes.
show, right? Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But I relate more to people who come from impoverished backgrounds.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
not even
struggle-
about their
the
race
kids
all the
struggling
time.
to survive.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, we have the same background. Yeah,
And that's why Black Panther,
All
even
about being
like the
relatable.
first movie, is far more important.
100%,
So,
yeah.
And Wakanda Forever is a terrible movie. I'll stand by that.
yeah, it could have been
That's,
good, but it wasn't.
That's why I get so annoyed. I'm glad you guys didn't ask too many questions about some of the stuff, some of the hate on Rings of Power, because it's like I understand in the original books written in like the 1920s.
Yeah, when there was
all
barely any black
characters
people
were white.
around.
But-
Yeah,
The whole thing of Tolkien for me as like a writer is that he wrote these nice kid-friendly Hobbit books and Lord of the Rings books to like bring happiness to his kids and his family, and then he released them publicly because his kids loved them. He wasn't the kind of guy I would hope that would be like fucking
No,
racist.
he's
yeah,
and
like
fuck
a-
the black
can't
people.
have,
He
like,
would
literally
never say
created
that.
his own version of Winnie
Yeah.
the Pooh.
yeah.
He's like the
Yeah.
Hobbit.
Yeah,
there
why
and back
can't
again.
black people live in
So then
fantasy
people come
worlds
around,
too? I
But then
don't get
New
it.
Line
All these-
Cinema's like, hey, we got.
But Tim Burton is like,
All
fuck black
these,
people. They're not in my
all
vision.
these fucking dickheads have been coming around in the last like 12 months saying Tolkien never wrote black characters.
Dude,
This is
they've been saying that for
protecting him, and I'm like,
3-4 years,
it's
dude.
like, fuck
I hope
off.
they make Superman
Yeah.
black.
Dude,
Just to piss- just a bit.
Fuck
just
it.
to tick
Fuck
off
it.
of that. Like,
Yeah,
all
because
those
it's
people.
so stupid. Like he didn't write them like black people, and it's not
Michael
like he
B.
was
Jordan Superman.
It's not like he was Lovecraft, okay?
Yeah.
Tolkien wasn't out here calling black people or his cat the N-word like fucking
No,
Lovecraft was.
like
He probably
Tolkien-
would be like, yeah, I want everybody to love
I've
my
read
shit.
the Lord of the Rings books. I've read The Hobbit. I've never got any racist indications.
No.
I've always got anti-Semitic
Dude.
points from the Harry Potter books I read.
Yeah.
Like there's anti-Semitism.
I mean,
there is some minor
The
racism.
elves
in there.
are the only racist thing. Like there's some weird they're a weird homogenous like perfect society.
She's
but they're
British.
shown to
but
be
she is British, so she
yeah,
hates-
but like
yeah.
but the people in the like the elves are shown to be like cruel a lot of the
Yeah.
time, right? Like they're cruel in the way that they look at the world.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that like he even like intended the elves to be like, oh no, it's just a perfect society.
No, because like Sauron was well, because the trolls or whatever, they were essentially created. And I just Sauron was the overseeing eye. He was the most powerful one, and it wasn't about. And that's the whole thing with Lord of the Rings. The elves joined the humans, even though they had a feud against each other. They hate each other.
yeah.
The
War of the Eight Armies
what's
or whatever the fuck.
Gimli is troll. Is he a troll? No. Gimli's a dwarf.
I can't remember.
Yeah, the dwarves.
Yo!
No, that's what they call them, right?
No, but you called him a troll at first.
No.
Hey yo,
Hey, yo.
No, but the dwarves and but they all come together to fight this force, and that's really what Tolkien was talking about. It's the unification of all the races, genders, creeds. Doesn't matter.
To fight back
There's
against the one
powerful
villain.
force that's trying to tear us all down, and we need to join together to take it down.
Yeah.
If anything,
Peace.
Tolkien was socialist to the core.
Fucking base. Socialist
if you
Tolkien.
guys liked Lord of the Rings, you should definitely watch Rings of Power because
Are there spiders?
I watched the first
Great
episode. I
question.
liked it. I'll have to get back into it.
Are there spiders? Because
Yeah, I thought no, I thought it was
fuck
like
yes. Okay.
going to be good, and then I realized the plot is like about Sauron tricking everyone into helping him build the rings.
Oh,
However,
that's
that's
really
actually
cool.
really
Oh,
cool.
we
That's a
should
really
watch
cool
that
plot.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
is
want
a
to
cool
watch
plot.
that. That sounds
Yeah,
cool.
because like when you sit there and you watch the like first Fellowship of the Ring, you're like, well, how did this fucking asshole convince all these fuckers to sit there and
Yeah,
get into this?
yeah.
And then it's
Now,
like,
The
and then
Witcher
they
was
make a
dog
show
shit.
about it, and they're like, that's too diverse for me.
Yeah, that's true. Now, The Witcher did end up becoming dog shit, but I also am against most people.
But
When I
that's
think
right.
The Witcher was
Henry Cavill.
never that
But
good.
that's not Cavill's fault.
No, Cavill was always good in
Actually,
The Witcher, but
the
I thought
first
even season
season of
one
the-
wasn't that good.
I love the
No,
first
yeah, I
season.
don't think even the first season was that good.
I might have been.
I think
wrong.
it was mid, but I think Henry Cavill was perfect for it. Like he
Yeah.
was an amazing lead for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.